My wife thinks I'm a coward. I've been on this forum since 2017. I've learned a lot from MJ's books, the forum, and other recommended reads. Yet, I haven't started anything. My life has been full of excuses. I was in a lot of debt. I promised myself to start a business once I clear debt. I wiped out all the debt and then promised myself to start a business once I have $20,000 in savings. My wife and I worked hard to save and now we have over $30,000 saved up. I'm now running out of excuses. All I do is read but never take any action. I work 2 jobs and been saving a lot for retirement. However, I still want to start a business. I'm thinking about becoming an independent courier but I'm worried I'll lose interest in that too. I feel like a certified fake peony raw action faker. I have all the resources that I need. My wife now thinks I'm a coward. She works so hard and supports me 100%. I feel like I'm failing her. How did you get over this fear of trying? I have millionaire friends who start different businesses every year. They don't like discussing business ideas with me because I never try anything. I haven't given up and this is why I'm seeking advice on how to get over this fear of trying and failing. Thanks in advance. You seem to be doing pretty well in employment and both of you are good at saving. Have you considered investing in real estate? I know the market is super hot at the moment so it may be a little more challenging to get started. The best thing about RE is it can be as hands-on or as hands-off as you want it to be. You could be running vacation Airbnbs or flipping or have long-term tenants in a property managed by a property manager. It's completely up to you. This type of a business or investment will allow you to continue working your job along in the background and when the time comes that the properties earn more than your job you can quit. Some might see it as a safer option than pressing the nuclear button immediately and quitting your job to go all in on a startup. Just my two. Is it just me or are a lot of threads and posts of late centered around the same concept? I'm too scared, not sure how to gain courage. How can I get over these fears, etc.? Logically the answer is to just do it, assuming you even know what path you want to go down. Do you even know which industry to break into? On which problem 9s you want to solve? Can you possibly be scared without actually knowing the answers to those questions? You might not be doing the work because you might not see yourself as a business owner. It's not your role. If I see myself as someone that is fit and in shape, it's a lot easier to work out. It will feel normal. If I see myself as a lazy person and often make self-deprecating jokes about how lazy I am, I'll act out that role. It'll feel normal. Doing the work is actually easy once it feels normal. If you're working to solve a problem that is meaningful to you and you also think it's possible for you to solve, then you won't even think about it. You'll just do the work. You'll feel weird when you aren't doing the work. I can't solve this for you. That's just my gut speaking based on reading your post. James Clear talks a lot about this approach. He refers to it as if anyone wants to read more. Nice, that's probably where I picked it up from. I'm a big fan of Atomic Habits. The way to get past that fear is to actually do something. Not one of the ways. Maybe there's a gentler, easier approach if you think hard enough about it or consult the right books or talk to the right person or get lucky enough, etc. The only way. I speak from experience. Once you do something, then do something else. Then do something else. It doesn't matter what the excuse, start. Today. Right now. Do one action, no matter how small, that moves you toward your goal. Reading about something doesn't count. If you want to start a courier business, call a law firm and ask to speak with someone that manages their couriers. Then, ask that person about what they are looking for in a courier. If it's past 5 there, call someone on the West Coast. If it's past 5 on the West Coast, leave a voicemail. Edit: here's the thing with being a coward. Being a coward is a daily decision. It can all change in an instant. You see a child in the middle of the road, and for the first time in your life, you run into danger instead of away from it, saving the child from an oncoming truck. You're now a hero. No one cares that you were a coward up until then. You saved that kid's life by your brave act, so go make a call. I've attended several events where I've met other fast learners, and the main takeaway from these events was that a lot of it boils down to individual mindset and beliefs. If you have an idea, you should just do it. If it fails, so what? Move on to the next thing. Another takeaway from the events was that it doesn't cost a lot to test out ideas. Spend a few $100s. If it works, great. Roll with it. If it doesn't, try the next thing. It doesn't take long to notice if people want what you're offering. I saw this posted elsewhere today: stop thinking, start doing. Andy Frisella. Most people are too smart to succeed. They spend all their time thinking about how to become successful, thinking about what they want, thinking about what other people are going to say, thinking about what could go wrong, thinking about what they have to lose, overanalyzing every little tiny thing so much that they never take action. Take it from someone who's been able to accomplish a few things in business and life. Some of the most successful people I know don't know the difference between R and R when typing an email. These are people who are worth hundreds of millions of dollars. I'm not exaggerating. You would likely call them stupid because of their inability to compose a simple email, but they could buy your mortgage from your bank in cash and foreclose on you for fun. So, how are they successful? Here's why. They make a decision about what they want in life, and they start f***ing moving. They don't think about whether they're capable or not. They don't think about what other people are going to say. They don't think about what could happen. They take action. Your problem isn't that you're not thinking enough, or that you don't know enough. Your problem is that you're thinking too much, which keeps you in a state of paralysis, instead of putting one foot in front of the other, like you know you should be. That one's going on the wall. You are out of debt and have 50% more cash saved than you thought you needed. That makes me think your hesitation isn't about money. Are you afraid of wasting time on an idea that might not work? If so, just keep in mind, the next year is going to pass either way. Do you want to be in the same position, but with a little more cash in the bank? Or 1 year's worth of hard work closer to a business you can be proud of? Even if it fails, you will learn a lot and reduce your chance of failure next time. You are on this forum for a reason. Time to take the plunge. Read something a while back that stuck with me. These posts reminded me of it, and I'll quote it as I remember. Stupid people make the best entrepreneurs. They don't care how unqualified and outrageous their intentions and goals are, yet find a way to put it out into the world, taking incremental steps along the way until it becomes reality. The cowards never started and the weak died along the way. Shoe dog, do you want to look back on your life when you're 80 filled with regret? Get started on something, anything to get the ball rolling. Funny how the human mind works. You need to understand where it is coming from. Is it risk? Fear of failure? Fear of doing really means other fears such as failure, embarrassment, etc. There's no such thing as fear of doing, otherwise you wouldn't think or even move. Anyway, not all people are made for entrepreneurship, and that's fine. Nothing people will write here will fuel you long term to do something. Yeah, there's that too. You can start doing something which would be huge in this scenario and then not continue. If you really want to do something, Start by doing and executing to-do lists. Of any kind. Once you can, take the trash out. You can do anything else on them lists. 1. Is there some way you can get started on a small scale? That way you can test the market and build up your confidence. Alternately, could you volunteer to help out another non-competitor business in your intended industry to get experience, boost confidence and understand the market? That's pretty much how I got started with my current business. 2. I wonder whether working 2 jobs means you've got no time or mental energy left at the end of the week to focus on starting a new business? 3. I do worry about the courier business because I feel like within 5 years it might become fully automated with advancements in self-driving vehicles. That's okay if you plan to own one of those vehicles, but it would be capital intensive. Hey man, on a smaller scale I had the exact same feeling. You really do need to start somewhere, like a sap. Humans are momentum based, and while pushing the ball down the hill may be ultra hard, it starts to roll with almost little to no effort down the line. Start with something small. A business that costs $200 and just jump right in and learn as you go. First, and then go into the deep ocean later. Create an execution thread on here. It helps a ton to hold you to what you have to do. Help someone a day. Do one action that scares you today. Do those above, and the rest will come in due time. Yeah dude, overthinking and overanalyzing are bitches. Why do you want to start a business? What would it do for you? What would you do for others? The fear thing, especially the fear of failure. What would the failure look like to you? Could you survive it? Is that fear of failure stronger than the fear of starting? To me, operating a life from a point of fear is like playing a game not to lose. Playing only defense will win games, but your defense has to score. At some point in time you need to play offense to win. I wish you well. I agree with those who have said, just do something. Also, like said, I think it would be helpful if you can identify the actual root cause of why you are stalling. I doubt it. I think you wrote this thread in the first place because you know that's not true. You know it's not that simple. There is something holding you back, you know that much. But what is it? You might be able to get unstuck by using the following method. Example, I think that my biggest obstacle is that I'm just too comfortable and apathetic. Since I've been too comfortable, I'm going to start facing uncomfortable situations by taking cold showers and approaching strangers in public and asking for a favor. Once I get practice doing that daily for 7 days, I will escalate to fighting apathy by reaching out to one strategic connection per day who can help me in the business I'm starting. For instance, let's say you've really gotten a handle on apathy. You've experienced a lot of personal growth in this area, and it's definitely not apathy that's holding you back anymore. But you're still not taking action. Well, go on to the next most likely one. Maybe you identify, okay, I'm still waiting around for that business idea that I feel passionate enough about. So I'm going to turn that into action and counteract it by practicing doing mundane things that I'm not passionate about. For the first 7 days, I'm going to do the dishes every day for my wife. I'm also going to write a list of all the reasons why my business does not have to be in an area that I'm personally passionate about. For the 7 days after that, I'm going to pick an idea from there, and I'm going to knock on doors, offering my services for that thing with no prior preparation. If you were to identify your main reason why you're not taking action, what would it be? Never really thought about tree. Someone had mentioned FHA for multifamily investment, but I didn't pay much attention. I think this is an area I will research now that I have a bit of capital. Thanks for the suggestion. True. I can just jump in and start doing something. However, the fear of investing time and money into something that I quite don't understand and then failing is what bothers me. I wouldn't want to start something and then end up action faking just because I feel that I need to start a business. Thanks for your comment. Makes a lot of sense. Thank you. Wow. What a great article and great reviews on the book. Just ordered it. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for the hard truth that I have been avoiding. I always move away from taking action whenever I find myself left with no other choice but to take action. I always think that the answer will be on the next book or the next successful person I'll come across. Sounds like I won't learn until I take action. Thanks for taking the time to offer me this great advice. I'll be posting my progress on the forum soon. Great advice and thanks for your time. I have dumb rich friends who are always launching new businesses right and left. They move fast in everything that they do and they tend to lose interest very fast, especially when dealing with non-business people. My overthinking and overanalyzing everything is the major reason why I give up before I even try. But now I've got nothing to lose if I try and take action. See you on the progress thread soon. Thanks again for your advice. Thank you. Well said. Thanks for sharing. I read Top 5 Regrets of the Dying not too long ago and your advice reminded me of how short life is to not try and end up regretting it. Thanks for sharing. Great advice. Thanks. I have a friend who has a courier business and wants me to be his partner. I have already gone on a ride along with him and I liked it. He's willing to train me before I become his business partner and we'll be meeting again next week for another ride along. Working 2 jobs has been a challenge, although not too much. I normally have time but my energy wears out too fast. I'm planning on quitting one of the jobs once I get into business. I think things will be very different in 5 years. A lot of stuff will be automated for sure, maybe even the courier industry. However, my goal right now is to utilize my existing business connection, my friend, so that I can learn how business is done. Hopefully, I'll be in a different industry or among those who will be in the automation business. I really appreciate your comment. Thank you. I am trying to get into the courier industry and will be creating an execution thread soon. Business partnerships are fraught with danger. It is good to work with someone who already has something up and running to get experience, but perhaps something like a joint venture might be better. I want to start a business because spend a lot of my time working too hard and too much at jobs that I don't even like. I am a hard worker and I plan to work even harder and longer, but it has to be something that I have control over. For instance, in the courier industry, I often hear people complaining all the time about crappy delivery services. I work for a company that deals with deliveries and although they try, I see a lot of small areas of improvement. This is what got me interested in this industry. Having a friend in this business has also been a plus. Sure, I could survive a failure in this business. The great thing about your questions is that my answers will probably be full of excuses. I am going to take action and get into this business, and as I mentioned in the previous comments, I will be posting an execution thread soon. Thank you so much for the comment. Wow. Thank you so much for this advice and exercise on getting unstuck. I know I'm not a coward and that's why I am seeking advice, because deep down, I know that I am a giant waiting to be unleashed. I think distrust in my ability to execute is a big problem. Also, perfectionism is a huge issue that often leads to overthinking and eventually, inaction. I remember one time I wanted to launch a YouTube channel. I bought everything and even set up the studio. But when it came the day to launch, I kept thinking about what to improve. I didn't think the camera was too clear. I then blamed the lighting. When I started blaming the desktop computer, I stopped, boxed everything, and never looked back. The same goes for books. I always think that my answer will be in the next book. I'm always reading something. Sometimes I think I'm crazy and weird. To answer your question, the main reason why I am not taking action is that I don't want to fail. The fear of not knowing what I am doing once I've started is what's keeping me from taking action. Why are business partnerships dangerous? I thought so. Anyone who had the ability to get out of debt and save $30,000 definitely has inner strength. So what specific action can you take in the next 7 days to combat the fear of failure and help the giant to be unleashed? Seeing how things could be improved and wanting to improve them is a great sign of entrepreneurship, but will you have that opportunity in a partnership? Will your friend be happy with you wanting to change things up? The biggest problem is that they are prone to ending in disputes even when the partners were friends to start with. The second thing is the legal aspect. I'm not sure about your country, but here in Australia legal partners are jointly and severally liable for the debts of the business, and there's no limited liability unlike an LLC. You'd have to find out how your partnership is set up. Currently in a similar situation to you, Salama. These past few weeks, I've been overloading on infotainment and action faking, and it's driving me nuts. But recently, it started getting better when I got a group of pals to really start conceptualizing a business. We've already made concrete plans and are already assigning roles, resources, and a future launch date. I also recommend a social media or dopamine detox, so that your mind is clearer. Exercise 2. One thing that sucks about being an intellectual is that you know the odds of failure, so you have more fear. So get friends who are braver than you and will pull you into action, making you not want to be left behind. You don't want to be the useless one in the business, do you? As for your wife, she is so supportive, and that's a testament to the strength of your relationship. I'm plenty sure that you can reassure her that things will be fine, as long as you hop to it. Hope this helped. Get some small wins whatever you want to do, because greater than small wins equals it will give you the dopamine receptors in your brain as motivation. This is universal motivation and it works. I think you could start passive income, which is pretty much starting a project of some sort. If you wait to pay off your debt depending on how much debt, it's kind of contradictory. I might think differently. But if you're being taught the fast lane principles, you should be able to take a percentage of what you make every month and save it specifically towards your projects. I can't speak with her, but there are some individuals who are quite slow as snails, ever breaking their plans, restrictions, rules, regulations, policies, and procedures, and stuck in the idea things must happen a certain way and you have to have all your ducks in a row before you do anything and wait for life to happen. It annoys me with people, because you have wait for other people to take action. I wouldn't say you're a coward if you are doing something like I pointed out, but you do miss a lot of opportunities. Check your belief systems if you have self-limiting beliefs about how life is meant to work out. I can tell you, just because someone sells you a formula, secret sauce, it doesn't mean it works every time for everyone. I will tell you the ducks are never in a row for everyone. The path is more of a huge scribble rather than a straight line on the journey of life for some individuals. Others might possibly have a straight line. There are multiple variables in everyone's journey. I would just tell your wife to try out the process for herself and start her own journey, and maybe she'll understand what actually happens. A lot of women do this. They want the materialism and finances, but don't have a clue how you get there. I made that bad mistake 20 years ago, and regret the fights, because in the end they're sitting there in a better position because they didn't follow the brick road, and I did. You can be quite cautious, believe life is supposed to go the traditional way, and it doesn't for everyone. Tell your wife to snap out of it, because she'll be just as stupid as I was at the time if she doesn't get smarter. And the hilarious part is, right now, I'm standing in his shoes wanting to build a business. I have been doing the same process as you. Don't knock it till she does it herself. If she hasn't done it herself, then she doesn't have much real contribution to your success. Check out some threads by Lex Devil. He has a lot of good threads showing small projects being started. The laser printing one is cool. I work in a heavy partnership industry, and I can say there is danger at every juncture with partnerships, especially with friends. They say the road to hell is paved with good intentions. And most partnerships start with good intentions, but when the business goes off the rails, strange shit starts to happen. Also, is this really a business opportunity, or are you just buying a job? If you're investing money into a courier business, you better know that business inside and out, including the books, as the amount of surprises lurking could be immense. If it's legit business, may be a good opportunity, but if it's not well established with a good reason to bring you aboard, it'd be very careful. Thank you for the advice. I would hate to mix business with friendship and then end up losing both. Thanks. I'm on it. The problem is my self-limiting beliefs and lack of trust or faith that my ideas will work out. When I told my wife that I wanted to start a business once our debts are cleared, she worked hard to help pay off the debt. I then told her that all I needed was to save $20,000 and I finally start. We both worked hard and saved the money. I then moved the goalpost to $30,000, and after we hit that goal, she got tired and asked me to jump in and start something. When I told her to give me time, she couldn't understand what else I was waiting for. That's when she saw me as a coward. I also felt like a coward, and that's why I am here. You're right about my self-limiting belief system. I trust cash in the bank than taking risks with it. I fear starting something and then losing both cash and the business. My wife is not into business, but she's willing to support me. It would be really difficult for her to understand how the process works or how I feel about starting a business. However, she's willing to support me until we make it. Thanks for your advice though. Not sure if I understand you, but to be clear, I have no debt and my wife supports me 100% as long as I'm trying my best to break into entrepreneurship. She works so hard. So, what has changed in the last 24 hours? What will change in the next 24 hours, 7 days, 1 month? You have been gifted a lot of good advice and you have graciously received it all. If you do not do something now, all of this advice and the time to dispense it will have been wasted. What more advice do you need to take some action and make some changes? It is time to step out of the comfort zone of agreeing with everyone about your perceived shortcomings and do something about it. The ball is in your court. I hope you succeeded taking risks and action. This is some great advice. My suggestion is to work out some type of contractor deal. For example, you get the jobs in and get a commission. That's what I do. Or alternately, he gets the jobs and you pay him a commission. If you're doing the work, then it should be more than just supplying labor, or you're no different from an employee. Alternately, maybe you could have your own run to look after all the process. I couldn't imagine that happening in the courier industry. Do you think it perhaps may have to be with performance anxiety and getting frozen in fear about the outcome? You sound similar to me. Whenever I get the motivation or thought to start, I immediately throw out an excuse. I am actually aware of it, and once you're aware, you know that you're making excuses in order to avoid it. Dig a little deeper and ask yourself, why are you avoiding it? For me, it's a fear of success, more than a fear of failure. And I think this is attached to my mindset around my identity. Work needs to be done here. It's a held belief that I am not deserving, and therefore I shouldn't expect to do anything extraordinary or super successful. The other reason for avoidance is worry or fear that what I start I won't commit to for the long term. See, most of my life I've tended to hop from one idea, situation, job, relationship, etc. to the other. I am not really sure why I am this way. But it is a barrier that prevents me from being consistent with anything. I start to question myself about if I am doing something I actually like and if it is something that will work out in the end, and so on. I tend to overthink things too and have to feel some sense of certainty. I get a sense of these two problems from your post. You're going to have to think about the barriers stopping you and challenge them. It's been repeated numerous times on this forum that mindset is the most important thing. I do think you have the brains and skills to be successful, but you have some false or negative beliefs preventing you from achieving. I was in a similar boat as you, except I got fired from my job and had no fallback plan. I wanted to start a business since mid-March 2020, but I was too nervous to make that move, and that was the month my GF broke up with me. I opened up an LLC a few months ago. However, because nobody wants to hire me jobless since October 2019 and people piss me off too much. That's when I said enough is enough, time to take matters into my own hands. I found out that, when it comes to taking action, for me, my negative sides, anger, depression, propels me to jump out of my comfort zone. What made you take any sort of risks in life in the past? Cheers to us in our new adventure. First, I picked up Atomic Habits by James Clear after one of the fast laners on here recommended it. The book is a game changer. I'm almost halfway with that. I then reached to someone in the courier industry and he recommended that I register for a 9 with the IRS. That's done. Now I'm in the process of searching for independent courier or 99 jobs that are available in my area. Once I find one, I'll rent a van before I spend money on a cargo van. My goal is to get started soon before I overthink the idea. Congratulations on your venture. When I look into 10 years into the future, and I don't feel confident about where or who I want to be, I always take action. That's why I'm always saving money. I guess we can call it fear of the unknown. While this fear does have a positive side, it keeps me from taking meaningful action. I chicken out too much when I think a lot about my future. Instead of whether you want to be an entrepreneur, the rest of this is mental masturbation. So, you've paid off your bills and built yourself a comfortable emergency fund. Those are huge milestones. I think hearing you say that you are very risk-averse. I totally understand that. Listen to your heart. I too don't like to take a lot of risks. That's why most of my investments are in real estate, my core business that I know inside and out. Write yourself a love letter. What do you like about yourself? What are your best skills? What makes you feel good about yourself? What types of businesses or opportunities catch your attention? Journal about your hopes, dreams, and feelings. What is the worst thing that could happen if you start a business? Can you live with that outcome? Do you soul searching before you start anything? Otherwise, you might shoot yourself in the foot and cause it to fail. I'm just spitballing here, as are others, but maybe one or more of the following things are preventing you from taking action. Maybe your why isn't strong enough, at least not strong enough to overcome your fear, uncertainty and doubt. Maybe you're too comfortable, and your misery quotient isn't high enough to make you overcome your inertia. After all, you are in a place where you've been able to pay off debt and save quite a bit of cash. You have a supportive wife and life is pretty good. Maybe you're focused on the results, rather than the path. You're focused on what you think entrepreneurship will you, rather than embracing the day-to-day of being an actual entrepreneur. Maybe you're focused on what you want, rather than what the world or market wants, or what problems need to be solved. Take it from someone who's been where you are, for much longer than you have. Do something. Do anything. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't even have to be right, good or smart. But do anything and do it now, because every day you don't will entrench you even deeper in your current situation and current mindset. If you remember nothing else, remember that the only difference between a rut and a grave is the depth. Well said. Great challenge as well. Thanks again for the great advice. I have been digging deep about what I want. I want a lot of things in life. I have figured out my problem, which involves motion without action. I often think about what could go wrong too much than what could go right. My skills have boiled down to being good with people. My networking and communication skills are great. I think I would do really good in sales, but before I even get there, I will have to do something. I've researched the courier industry enough, and all I need to do is to take action before I overanalyze it. Thank you for your kind words. I am taking action now because I've got nothing to lose. My why is strong. The marketplace could use my services. I just need to take that leap of faith. I work 2 jobs and I'll have to quit one in order to have time to focus on my business. It's not easy quitting a job to do something that is not guaranteed to work out, but I feel that quitting one of the jobs will push me to find means for more income. I know it sounds crazy, but I can't continue to live life on the sidelines. I'll be creating an execution thread soon. Thanks again for your advice. Might I suggest you change your goal? When you say ideas will work out, what I hear you say is that your business will be the absolute best business you could possibly build. Alternatively, that your business will grow and scale and be profitable and be fast lane. I'm sure you want to prove these friends wrong for not talking things over with you. I'm sure you want to reward your wife's faith in you. Those are heavy burdens to bear on your first foray into entrepreneurship. Enter into your first business with a different goal. Set the bar lower. In this first venture, focus on becoming the best business owner you could be with the venture. Focus on growing the skills that you do not have in order to run a business. In time, you'll find out whether this business venture is the right one for you or not. But if it isn't, don't look at this as a failure. Even if you lose money, don't look at it as a failure. Treat it as an education. And if it does not work out, then attack the next one with equal vigor, armed with more experience. Some people fail 7 times before they make it big. Very few actually hit success the first time out. So change your mindset, and you might find it easier to move forward. Your goal is to learn by doing. Don't jump in both feet. Test the waters first. Get some success under your belt before you fully commit. Do a bunch of A versus B tests to see what works. Small failures and incremental mistakes are correctable. They just take a small change of direction and your costs are naturally limited. Many people throw all their resources into a business decision without making sure in advance that it has a good chance of working. For people like you and me, it's worth taking the extra time and steps to up our odds of success. We've had a few people in our area that do deliveries and courier services. Most have come and gone pretty quickly. The ones that have stuck around have a niche in the market. They don't try to be everything to everyone. They have regular clients who really need their services. I looked at a courier contract for one of our military bases in our state. It was picking up medical samples and taking them to the lab in the neighboring town 24/7. I had too many things going to bid, since it would have been a full-time job to be on call like that. But it was interesting. Not taking action because you don't know what to do? Or because you can't get yourself to work? If it's the second, it may be time to build some work habits. Everything you shared helps to set the direction. The first question, but when it comes to action, is more relevant. A simple way to take action is to take small actions. Even if it's making a to-do list, reading an article, or message someone. You then use that motivation to start another small action, compounding them into a bigger one. It's funny how the most productive days of my life started that way. Those days, I didn't plan to do much. Anyway, hard to give an accurate solution with a generic question. Will you take the challenge? When will you start the challenge? What day will you complete the challenge? Less talk, more do. Yes, I will take the challenge. I will start the challenge today, 07 or 10. I will give myself 5 days to turn $1 to $2. I had thought it would be easy, but for someone who's so risk-averse and overthinker, it can be a challenge. I will complete the challenge by Wednesday 7 or 14. I'm selling stuff that I had bought to sell but never did. I can get myself to work. The problem is not knowing where to start, which often leads to overplanning and eventually, to inaction. I know what I want to do. I have researched a lot of ideas only to abandon them after a while. I have given up a lot of times only to come back with new ideas that I end up losing interest in. But it now makes sense to take small actions every day. I've also been reading Atomic Habits, and now I can see how important discipline and habits are when it comes to success in both life and business. Thanks for the advice. My plan is to rent vans and trucks before I go all in. I've seen people get stuck with $30,000 delivery vans in an industry they don't like. My friend has advised me to first rent and test the waters. I'm currently searching for medical courier gigs with my small SUV. Thank you for your time and advice. And you're right, I feel the pressure from all sides. Before writing this thread, I had convinced myself that entrepreneurship wasn't for me. That's when my wife saw the cowardice in me. I'm the only one in the family that's interested in business. So you can imagine the pressure and negative talk that I get to experience. However, this is not an excuse for why I haven't started a business. As you mentioned, my goals are often too big, and this is where it gets confusing and overwhelming. I also noticed that I've been focusing too much on the results of a good business than on the process and skills that are essential in building a business. I am willing to learn, and I am thankful for all the advice I am getting here. Thanks again. Some hard-hitting posts here for the lurkers like me. Can help you move forward. I had a business idea in the food industry. I saw a potential value skew, but I procrastinated on that. After some thinking, I realized I was shying away from the grunt work of marketing. Marketing was a very important part of the value skew. And it had to be visually appealing. Think Instagram. So what, I hired a marketer and voila, I started to have momentum. Sometimes it boils down to being overwhelmed because you think you have to do everything. Big goals are good. They will keep the fire burning. And you don't have to achieve everything yourself. Look at Richard Branson. He epitomizes that. If you can't move forward at all, pause. Your main role is not to do them. You know what you want to do, can help you do it. Day 1 progress. Day 2 big 3 to accomplish the goal. Just get ABC of your idea and start the rest of the information you will get as you proceed. The thing is, people think a lot before starting. Don't dig too much.